we're still, it's now been 4 years. And while I think COVID is here, as we all know, it's here for the long run, right? This is not
Yeah,
something that's going to uh just disappear. And
right.
we're always gonna have to worry about hygiene and stuff, right? Like wash your hands.
Yeah.
Wash your hands. I can't. How many times? Tangent. How many times did we say over the past 4 years? I saw these damn people not washing their hands and doing things they should not be doing. Just wash your hands.
Right. Wash
Just
your
wash your
hands.
hands.
Soap and water.
Soap and water.
Don't just ranch it under the faucet. No, no, no. We not just ranching them off. You put some soap in there and wash your hands. Wash them
Sing happy
thoroughly.
birthday. If we've ever
Yes.
worked in restaurants, we all know you gotta say happy birthday, twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Yes.
Wash. Just wash with
Wash
soap and
them.
water. Wash your
And
hands,
I
watch your
think that's
booty.
also part of why a lot of people are still a little recluse, right? Because it's that it's that trigger of people practicing poor hygiene. And hell, how many times do you get on TikTok and see people talking about how they don't bathe and bathe their children and all this kind of stuff? I know it's so gross. I'm like,
So gross.
that's nothing to brag about. That is really not a flex. But it's like, it makes you not want to interact with people. Like, ugh, like
Es-
what you got? What cooties you got? You know what I'm saying?
Especially when people aren't realizing that bathing energetically cleanses you too. It is not
That,
just physical cleansing, it is
that,
energetic cleansing.
yes,
Like, I don't care what your belief system is. Either way, we know there is some form of water purification. And yes, soap
yes,
too, but like cleansing your head, we know baptism, head rogations,
yes.
all these. I mean, we can go on and on. Doesn't matter what you in. Cleanse. You need to cleanse. And so
Wash the
people
feet,
wash your
washing
feet,
your feet.
washing your feet, washing the back of your neck. Like these places where energy is attracted, and you
Yes,
that's part of the I think that's some of why some people don't want to be out in the streets, is because people don't realize how much bathing is part of spiritual hygiene.
yes, yes. It
It,
absolutely is.
you can choose, I don't care if you're a morning person or a night person, but get into the routine. My preference is actually at night to wash off whatever crap came from my patients, came from on the street, because people be throwing their stank ass energy any which way. They want to get rid of it. They want to get rid of it,
Yes,
but they're not realizing that they're just throwing it out to
right.
whoever is out there. So I think that's part
Exactly.
of it. Sorry, that just spirit spoken was like, no, part of this is that people are not spiritually cleansing, and that makes it a
That's
problem.
true though. And that still kind of plays into what we're talking about here. So it's like, okay, so with the shift that came in 2020 through way of COVID and how we were all supposed to be in the house, and a lot of people, for a lot of us, it's like, meh, I don't mind so much, and then for others, you were used to a lifestyle of like being out and about and doing things. But now I'm noticing that there are some people that are choosing to continue to be recluse. And I will include myself in that to a point where, I want to be more social. I want to get out and do more. Hi, Goddess Evelyn.
Hey, Evelyn.
I want to get out and do more. Um, and sometimes I wonder what is the energy behind that as to why I don't. Sometimes I feel like it's because I don't really want to be in this city anymore. You know, hey, Goddess Quayle, I don't. I want to move. I want to leave and go live in another city, another state. But right now, it's just not feasible. But there's a lot of things that I could come up with as to why I don't. But I know if I sat down, I can think of probably quite a few reasons why I should. You know, um, but it's I like what you were saying before we went live about agency and
Yes.
making that decision
Maybe,
for
yeah.
yourself.
And that's what it comes down to with all this. I know I went on a tangent, but it's you have the agency to decide, right? And this
Yeah,
is something you really need to think about. We I know I didn't say, as I know you didn't say, oh, I'm going to choose to live during a pandemic, right? Like COVID happened, people get cancer, you may get hit by a car. Does not mean that you chose that, but it's
right.
taking that your agency and deciding what you're going to do about it. Like you
Yeah,
still have agency over what you choose to do. We
right.
can sit back and just be like, oh man, this happened. And don't get me wrong, it'll kick you in your teeth sometimes. And you have to take a moment and be like, I'm going to sit in it. I'm going to let my fingers get all pruny while I wallow in it. But you don't want to stay there.
Right.
You don't want to stay in that nasty bath water, right? You want to get out of it and be like, all right, what can I do about it? You know,
Yes.
right? It's what even like even when we're talking about our wellness journeys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um even with the all right, I can talk about like I gained a ton of weight. Some of it due to a lot of emotional distress last year. I gained
Mm-hmm.
a good chunk of it. And it hit me that I was like, okay, I do know what to do, right? I have a
Right.
bachelor's in nutrition. I'm a Chinese medicine herbalist. Like there are things I know what to do. I get it. I get it probably more than most people. And
Yeah.
yet it's the agency is, am I willing to do it though? I can't sit there, right? You know, I chose, and another way to put it, I know the lovely goddess Shonda Rhimes said you could she participated in being a veal. If you read Year of Yes, she talked about it, and that was a moment that's once again agency. She chose agency. She could either say yes to being a veal or saying yes to exercising, and she lost a ton of weight. But same thing, and it's just choosing what you want to do. I
Yeah.
mean, like I actively chose to eat my feelings. Great, I had some horrible stuff happen to me,
Yeah.
and then I was just like, and I chose to eat my feelings. But now, if once enough is enough, but this even
Yeah.
goes to people going out and us choosing to be like, I don't want to be around people. You have that agency to decide, do I want to be
Mm-hmm.
around people and choose the people you want to be around. I have been, it's funny because we were talking about this, and I am actually way more out there doing things that I was even doing pre-COVID, but it's because I have found my people that
Right.
we tend to that I enjoy being around that have the same viewpoints that are on their spiritual path that are looking at medicine. Like I just did an urban foraging uh afternoon, which was amazing, and I did it with my god sister was
Nice.
running it, you know, and it was you got 20 black people running through the south side of Chicago picking or you know wildflowers that are used for root workers. But you know how
Mm.
amazing that is? I found my people that I'm like, yep, I'll make time and get out there. And I didn't come
Yeah.
home and feel awful. I felt amazing.
I bet that sounds awesome.
It was amazing. It really was. But I came home and washed immediately because also energetically, we were all pulling up stuff. And
Yeah.
so it just, yeah, it, I mean, we also, I swear, John Henry was out there sending his spirit because we became obsessed with getting railroad spikes. Like we were out, I was out there.
Ooh.
I looked down, and all of a sudden, I'm like, "Here's one!" I'm pulling up. Other people are pulling up. We were literally, I mean, it turned into a railroad spike. It was amazing. It was beautiful. We were all proud of all the railroad spikes. So we're like, "I'm taking one home."
Oh my
Um,
gosh. I would
it,
love that.
it was beautiful, but that was the thing. We didn't even realize how far we drifted off. We had to turn around and walk back, and we're like, "Oh, we went pretty far."
We went too far.
Like,
Yeah.
but 20 black people frolicking, black and
Hey,
brown
that's
people
what it's about.
frolicking. It's and just that joy. So I think part of it is we want to seclude because we don't think there's people out there in a close proximity,
Right.
like geographically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's finding the way. I mean, like I was thinking about this agent, like I've been thinking about it a lot last night, this morning, just nonstop about, so what can I do to make that shift? Because anything is possible. Anything,
Yes.
anything. I could go buy
Mm-hmm.
a lottery ticket and I could hit the jackpot. I could also go buy a lottery ticket and win $10. I could also lose the $2, right? Like
Yeah.
anything is possible. I could be, I who knows? But
I
it's,
actually got $35 on scratch off last week.
oh, see, like it's all coming through though. But that's the thing, we have the agency to decide what we want to do. So
Yes.
if you choose to be inside, which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? It's there's this, like, it's a fine line with secluding.
Right.
Um, like a very fine line,
Mm-hmm.
because one moment, like, where it's like, I need rest, right? I'm discerning, I need to stay home. Spirit is saying, no, 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 girl, that's trouble. Don't be messing with that. Like,
Right.
because sometimes we know we're like, oh, that's gonna be fun, but like, is it gonna be fun, or is it gonna be fun and oh no?
Right.
And so, but
Yeah.
the agency to decide. Right now, things are tough. And so I
Yes.
think, especially, at least for us, because we are Gen Xers, that it's very easy for us to say, you know what, I'm going to stay home. And
Right.
especially as healers, because we're empaths, that we
Mm-hmm.
say, you know what, I'd rather be at home. And I think on the other part is, I don't want anybody else. I don't want to vomit on anybody else either. If I'm in it, because it's rough. We know when stuff's going down, we're like, no, no. And
Yeah.
sometimes you can't help it. And the next thing you're like word vomiting on somebody. And then you're emotionally vomiting. And then you feel 1,000 times better, but that person really doesn't. I know I've said it before.
Mm-hmm.
We all know when somebody throws up, the person who throws up feels better.
Right.
Everybody else who has to clean it up is like,
But at the
no.
same time, we do the thing I think for me that I'm realizing more and more is, and I already knew this, is we actually need people, you know, um, because holding a lot of stuff in and not talking about it, or finding people who have that, not trauma bonding. Let's be
Right.
clear.
Not trauma bonding. Right.
Not talking about that. I'm talking about people who come together as a community, lift each other up. We can talk about our grievances, but after a while, we're gonna be like, okay, girl, now how long we gonna sit in this? You need to kind of come on. Go pay a
Right.
therapist, go for a run, go do something, but we're not gonna keep going over the same thing over and over again. But I feel like that's the missing piece for me sometimes, because it's like I need that in person. The other piece of it is like, I love my online community. Like I have Goddess Quayle, who's always, showing up at my stuff and, cheering me on. And I just love her and, all my other goddesses. But I also would love some in-person community. And that's the part that I'm missing. Like I want that camaraderie. I want that community. But it's finding the right community, right? Um, yeah.
Yeah, because I think there is this, because you said it, it's like we don't want to trauma bond, but what's happening out there
Mm-hmm.
is that people start trauma bonding.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, 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 no. It because like you said, and that's what happens in person. Oh, you're here. Let's talk about all the crappy things and let's see how we relate on those crappy things. Instead of saying, hey, I need to vent, or I just need to say, you know what? Mayo colored people suck. This is what happened today. This is the kind of BS they're on today.
Yeah.
This is what I experienced, and I just needed to get it out because yeah, it does. Shift happens when you are in that physical energy. It really does. It's We were talking about it last time, like find your community, or maybe that was 2 times ago, whatever conversation that was, where it was
Yeah.
like, you gotta find your, we were talking about it probably a
Mm-hmm.
couple conversations ago. Find that community. You got to find it isn't just online.
Right.
It isn't. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, that is something. I mean, that's how we met.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
there's a lot of great things that happen. Thank you for, community being there, especially online during our lockdowns. And yes, the right
Definitely.
community isn't just yes sayers. I talk about all the time. I want my sisters who are going to call me out. If I can't tell you the truth, like if I can't tell you something, I know that I'm on some BS.
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah.
I can't tell you, I can't tell my sister, I can't tell, my god sisters that I'm closest to, if that's the case, and I cannot say it to them, then
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm acting a fool because because I know they are gonna slap me upside the head and
And
be
we
like,
need.
Danielle, what kind of mess you get into? Like, one, are you? Yeah. Once they know that I'm the one who's on the fuck around and find out train, then it's gonna be like, okay, we're gonna slap you in the head because you shouldn't be doing that. First
Right.
it's like, is somebody else doing it to you? No, no, no. You're actively participating. Okay.
Yep.
So
That's
yeah,
it. You want the people that are going to call you out on your bullshit. You want the people that are going to be like, okay, you are on one and you got a couple of minutes left to do this. And then I'm going to have to snatch you back to reality. You
right.
know?
And 5, 4,
Right.
3.
We counting down.
All right, Miss Ma'am, you done?
You
Okay, my
done? Are you
turn.
done? Yeah.
My
No,
turn.
no. You're done.
I'll cut you off right there.
Right
Exactly.
there,
Yeah.
girl.
We
But I think
want those
I
those
love that though of the agency because, dear God, as I get closer to 50, which that's will happen next year, but I'm getting really close. I'm thinking about so much stuff in my life. And I'm like, shit, am I having a midlife crisis? Like, what is happening? But I think it's growing. It's just part of growing. You start questioning, you start seeking, you start like, okay, I want to explore this. I don't want to, limit myself anymore. Now I want to go out and play Dora the Explorer and start exploring things. I want my backpack and my map. and
Right?
find my boots and all that Dora Explorer thing. Okay, I'm just thinking about when my son was little. We used to watch Dora.
Right? No, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm but that's the thing, right? We are hitting that, and some of it is like, is the chi just getting stagnant? Is your life force energy getting stagnant? I mean, like that's
Yeah.
a big thing that you have to start thinking about, because I know my cycle. We've talked about this. I have a 3-year cycle. I can do something for 3 years and you'll get me for three, unless something really goes completely bonkers.
Right.
Um, I know that my cycle is 3 years. I can be at a job for 3 years, fill in the blank, and then that's when my chi gets stagnant. That's when I got to find something else. That's when I need to be like, all right, how do I get things moving again? And so we're in year 4 of this weird COVID crap. And just life is different. It doesn't look the same, but I think some of it is the expectation. We don't know where it's supposed to land. We can either
Right.
be in this, hey, we're not doing anything and we're just going to be hermits. But
Yeah.
that gets stagnant. As much as I love being home with my dogs, I really I don't. Like there's this piece of I don't, and it's honoring it. Like if I'm gonna call myself out, um, we can talk about it. Like it's like, yeah, I I've been looking and looking, and it's like, okay, but I had agency to decide, am I gonna go do these things?
Right.
I made a choice
That
one
part.
day. Just going, I remember how it started, and I heard 2 of my god sisters talking about seeing the live action Little Mermaid, and I am not somebody to walk up to them and just invite myself. And I said, "Oh, I want to go," but that was
Hmm.
my first step. And looking back, that was me saying, I'm going to start changing things. I can
Yeah.
sit there and bitch all I want about how I don't leave the house, because I mean, a year ago I was working from home. I lived in my home 24/7. I did my job from home. I quarantined here. I did everything, and I wasn't leaving.
Right.
Maybe to go to Trader Joe's, or you know what I'm saying, or
Right.
Tony's, but like that was it. I wasn't. I mean, I even bought a Peloton, so then I didn't have the excuse of going out to exercise. Like I'm doing everything at home, and
I
that's where
remember that.
right, and it's like I can sit there and be like, well, it's the way it is. Like I was sitting around talking this week um with some wonderful sisters, and they're like, "Oh, you should go do this." And I was so resistant because they're like, "Wait, you do micro needling and nano needling and cosmetic acupuncture?" And I'm like, well, yeah, but I don't. And they're like, I'm like, one, I don't have a pen. That was at my last job, right? And I'm
Hmm.
like, it's like $1,800. They're like, you can fundraise that in a second. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, do you know how many people you could get who want that? And I was just like dead set against it, right? I just was like, I fought every statement of them going like, girl, you know how much money you can make. And then this whole agency started popping up, and I was like, yeah, I do have control of what my money is, what my relationships are. And agency as how to it applies to abundance. And I'm not talking about just finances. And that
Right.
was the thing I started looking at, because I was enjoying this wonderful workshop I was in, and it was like abundance isn't just money. Living abundantly and having agency over abundance. I mean, really and truly think about it.
Yes.
Abundance for me is, yes, increased cash flow, but it's also without doing harm or stress to myself, which
Hmm.
then means getting weekly massages, getting acupuncture, or at least getting acupuncture once a week, getting massages every other week, getting eating better food. Because the reality is, I can say I want to see 100 patients a week, but at what cost is it to me? Does that actually does that fit in my schedule? And this is something that every healer, every person who's walking this path, I know, Evelyn, you're working on your own thing. It's, you want to put into what feeds you, right? You want to put into what feeds your soul. Because if you're not, that's one way to cut off abundance, period. If you are not doing your soul purpose, whoo, like, you can chase money for a minute, but it's going to disappear. It will disappear if it is not in alignment with you. And so knowing those things, I mean, abundance for me is having a house one day. Yes, I have a condo. I'm very lucky that I was in a position at one point, but now the abundance is to have a house with land. And I don't have to have a big house. I want the land. That is abundance. I want to have minimum of 6 raised garden beds, maybe 8, all with my spiritual herbs that I work with, and growing my own food. That is abundance.
Yes, yes,
Choosing
yes.
my daughter, choosing when I want to work. I don't want to see 100 patients a week if it means I'm working 24/7. I want to work in the hours that I'm available. And if y'all hear my dogs, I am so sorry. They are on it with me at the moment. They're like, yes, mom. Yes, mom. Lola just turned 9. It turned 9 tomorrow, and Athena just turned 7. So they're like, yes, get it, mom. You doing it.
They're your amen corner.
Exactly. They are my amen chorus right now. But like, what does abundance look like, right? Because you can't just say, I want this one thing.
Yes.
And that's abundance. Because in the end, that's only one flow, and what happens? You get out of balance. That's a blockage. Doesn't matter if it's in Reiki, if it's in Chinese medicine, if it's in massage. When you have a blockage because you only have one pipeline of what that is, you get everything stuck and it starts smashing, and then it starts to scatter. It starts to scatter and you go everywhere. So it is looking at, what does abundance really look like? And you've got to not think about it in financial terms. Abundance is deciding that, you know what, I know I want my house, that if I don't have, I look at my godfather's place. I love his house. I love the land, because he's got land. He got a deck. He got the things where I'm like, I want to be out here middle of the week having breakfast with my family.
Yeah.
Like, right. I'm not good. Abundance is not rising and grinding. I need to eliminate the word grind. We can fit people. I know that I can see 40 people a week only working 3 days a week and only working 4 hours a day. Maybe 5. Great. Yeah. That's what I'm aiming for. And then I'm opening it up to 70. I'm still not working more than 3 days a week. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I want to have my other days to do things. I want to be able to shift days if I need to, because I want to take a long weekend somewhere. But that's abundance, right? I want to know that I am saving for my future. That is abundance. Being able to afford a premium PPO because I can, that is abundance. And not that I'm all into the big pharma, because we know we're definitely not. Right. But when you need to go to a doctor and you get slammed with a $50,000 bill because you don't have any insurance, or you only have an HMO and not a PPO, and nobody's in network or whatever, that money isn't everything, but it makes things go a lot further. So it is one of those things. Like, I mean, I've really dug deep, because My life has changed very much from a year ago.
It really has.
It really has.
It
It
really
like for those like you've known me for the last 6 years and I have gone, whoo, and yet once again, I don't think my life will look like this even within 6 months. I think it'll be completely shifted again.
Yeah, I definitely see that for you.
I so you have the agency to decide what you want to do because it's those little things. Like she really made me think, like as I
Hmm.
was going through this workshop, um, and it was like, so what are the little things I can do to re-strategize? And one of them was, yo, cut cable. I've been paying for a direct TV stream. Do I really watch live TV? Absolutely not. Do I turn the TV on while I'm working or so that the dogs have noise to try to like
Right.
not like to just mute what's happening in the hallway with my neighbors? Yeah, but why am I paying $85 a month for background noise when I have an app I can stream that I'm already paying for, right? It's those
Right.
little things. It's knowing that I can, like, I chose to do these little things, like eating fast food all the time. We think it's not cheaper anymore than eating nutritious food, right? It's not. It
Yep.
really isn't. Like, Lord knows I went to Culver's and was like, yep, I'm gonna get me a burger. You get the meal and it's 17.50. Like
And you can go to the store and get the ingredients
for
and
about
make,
$20.
yep,
And
and
you
make
probably
it,
get four.
and make your own version and it be fire.
Exactly.
You get to monitor how much salt goes into it, how much of the seasonings. You get to put the vegetables
Sugar.
you want on there, everything. And that right there, that is part of something in my life that I am taking back, right? Because since I've been walking semi daily, I've walked like 90% of July. I
You're
did. I
doing
got up and I
great.
did my walk. Um, Hell or high water, I did it.
You
But
did.
in August, I decided I'm ready to take it up. So now I'm ready to start exercising twice a day
Woo!
on certain days. So we shall see, child. We shall see. But that's what I decided for me, that abundance for me is me being able to feel good in my body,
Ashe.
me being able to move the way I want to move and not have to depend on devices to help me move. There's no shade to people who have to use devices. But
Correct.
if I can cut this off now and make the decisions now to do what needs to be done for myself, for my body, for my future, that's what I'm choosing to do. And I think that's kind of why I was thinking about that, because I love going outside and walking so much. It's so peaceful and beautiful to me. And I was like, I like outside. Why am I not outside more? So that's what got me this whole thing, just me sitting and thinking and, listening to, some of the women that I work with, in Sacred Pathway Academy, and how some of them I can tell are falling into that pattern of being recluse and staying at home and not really functioning, and socializing, and because you're seeking community, but you're not, like, you're
Right.
staying safe, you know and yes, it's good to be safe, but the safe that you're doing is you're hiding. How much are you hiding? And then the other point that I wanted to come back to was when you were talking about choices as far as the work that you do. This is kind of why I decided a long time ago that I was going to put my courses on my, Sacred Pathway Academy on autopilot and let them be self-paced, because I'm like, I don't want to hate this where I'm,
No.
doing it constantly, because I love it. So that's why most of my courses are self-paced. because I want to be able to put my business on autopilot so that me and Danielle can pick up and go to, Italy one day, or, maybe we want to go to Puerto Rico or wherever,
Portugal,
wherever we want to go.
anywhere. I want to keep putting those stamps on my passport.
Yes, me
But
too. I
but
need some. Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those you do, right. Make that choice. I don't. It really hit me, like I said, like in the last 24 hours
Mm-hmm.
about you do have agency over some things.
Yes.
You do have agency. And so we're not saying I'm not saying go quit your job, right? Like tomorrow, right?
No.
Because that's crazy.
Yeah.
But make the plan and start executing.
Yes.
Like start executing. Even if it's little things, do it one by one, because it like sometimes it's like I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start. I didn't know where to start, and I prayed on it. And then one day, all of a sudden, I started doing. Like, I was like, oh, I'm going to create this LLC. Oh, I'm going to go do this. Oh, I'm going to do that. And bit by bit. But also honor, like that agency is honoring who you are. The quickest, I keep coming back to it because that just like, it came out and I'm thinking about it. And the quickest way to kill abundance is not following your purpose. And I'm sitting with that going like, I'm really, really lucky because I've gone the full spectrum. While I've been doing this I've been a healer my entire adult life, right? 20 years. And yet there have been times where I've put it on the back burner and I've chosen corporate work. And what I learned is one, it's an illusion. It does not give you the safety that you think you have.
Okay.
But I did at one point, the end of 22, wasn't it? I think it was the end of 22. I said, I'm not doing massage anymore. I'm not doing any of this anymore. I'm done. I couldn't make it 6 months. It was like cutting off my own hands. It really crippled me.
I remember that.
And things will correct itself when you start doing these things and you start living again. And it's like, oh, and so all I can say is if you're not on that purpose, you haven't figured it out, great. Then start to figure it out. Get with your therapist. Start exploring. Start having conversations. Come sit on here with us and let's talk about things. See
right.
what lights you up. Because in the end, I can't tell you how many times Allison has said, like, girl, you literally light up when you start talking about the body and how it works and all these different things. And I start going, I mean, even this past week, my godmother said, you are one of the most underrated people I've ever met. And at first I was like, and I'm starting to understand because I have been hiding. As much as I'm in my purpose, I have been hiding. Granted, I'm getting back into it, and it's like go big or go home, because that is abundance. Like if you get to live authentically as you, is that not abundance? Doesn't matter. Like the money will follow, because all it is a physical manifestation of what's happening in other areas. Right. My job. Oh my thoughts for the last 24 hours.
Yes. Well, honey, I have enjoyed this conversation. I think that's a beautiful place to stop. But you know what? You just really you dropped some real good gems. And you also just gave like a really good idea that one day maybe we do have something where we invite people to come up and we talk and see what they got going on. And we can see what we can do to help them with what the questions they might have.
Get your questions ready. Like, this is about us coming together and building community, because eventually, and I am claiming it right now, we will be doing these things in person.
Yes.
We'll take the show on the road wherever
We
we're at.
will.
And I mean, but that's the thing. This is your chance to find community. Once again, I'm gonna stress this like I stressed it a few talks ago. We're at a point where you need to find community. It's not just a network, but a community. And you need to be able to know who's in your corner. Go find them. Our world is on fire. That's what we were saying. Not to end it on a bad note. The whole point is find the people that think the way you do. Not 100% because I want to be challenged. I don't want to get into fist fights. I don't need to get smacked down. We do not have to do the FAFO route every time. But I want to engage in meaningful conversation along the path that we're going. I want to understand. I am all about urban foraging. I'm all about root working. I am all about being a Black woman living with the garbage that is out there that people are spewing, and it sucks sometimes. Like, but I'm out there doing my thing. Get out there, find joy, cultivate joy.
Yes.
Even
put your hands in the dirt and cultivate.
Put your hands in the dirt. Put your
hands in the dirt and cultivate.
Listen to what the wind's saying.
Yes. Love it.
Like, yeah. And you'll find your people. But get out there. Say something. Now's the time. We are actually in this beautiful time. We are in a beautiful time where here's the chance to do it. Yeah. So go do it. You have agency over the route you want to take. Know that you have that choice.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, all right, y'all. And Evelyn gave us an ashe. So yes, ashe, ashe, ashe. Oh, yes. Ashe. All right, y'all. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you for, leaving the comments and in the chat. Don't forget, when the video is over, still put your likes in there because we need YouTube to know that folks need to watch this. Oh, did you see what Quayle just posted?
Yes, and this is something you and I have talked about. You and I have talked about this. We have talked about this for 6 years, Quayle.
Years. Quayle, oh my God. Spirit just used her.
For real.
Spirit just used her.
Yeah, so that, okay.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right, y'all. That's a conversation for another day.
No, for real.
All right. We love you all. Have a good evening. Find your agency within. Touch grass, touch dirt, cultivate, all of those things we've said. Danielle did the doggone thing today. She preached the whole word. Y'all need to be passing the collection plate to my girl up here. For real, for real.
For real, for real.
All right, y'all. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye, y'all.